Again with Fuji and Humanist. We're about to hop into our third game of the day for Europe. It's going to be between G2 and Rising Lotus. If you guys think you know who's going to take this series home, you can, as per usual, vote on Twitch using !vote, followed by either G2 or Lotus. Let's just quickly get into the rosters, start breaking down this series right away. Up first, G2 Esports. We've got Hundor, Dingo, Dark Potato, Redix, and Face. They're up against Rising Lotus, a team who has had an up-and-down performance so far. We got Keanu, Nakoa, Justman, Double Zero, Lore, Aroniac, Mr. K Cool, and Flobby.
Should be a good matchup. Should be pretty strong. You have to kind of wonder maybe where G2 Spirits are at coming into this week after being so dominant in the first part of the split, feeling like their run for Worlds was almost somewhat certain as well as they were playing, and then kind of falling off, not really finding their groove, not finding the drafts that worked for them, and now with no chance coming into the final week, pride, money's still on the line, but it has to hurt.
I feel like that'd be a big problem if they ever thought their run to Worlds was certain. And that was like the whole thing going back to the last split, where we got pretty critical on them, saying, you know what, hey, maybe you feel like you have an opportunity to let down a little bit, but you really don't. Tough position to be in, but, anyways, whatever the case is, this is going to be a pretty good matchup. As you said, I think these two teams stack up pretty evenly.
I think especially right now they do, because Lotus, I've always said, is a team that I think is like middle of the pack. Exactly in the middle, with variance. Like, they can beat some of the best and they can lose against some of the worst, but they are on average middle of the pack. G2 I think is in the exact same boat. We saw that, they did so well in split 1, they came into split 2 and couldn't perform as well. It should be a close matchup.
It really should.
I do agree. Well, we do see the Kestrel ban on side A here. Is that surprising to you?
I mean, a little bit, honestly. They can play that pretty well. So, I mean, they just want to eliminate it, and it looks like it means they want to take the draft in a different direction. They're going to first pick the Adagio, which we haven't seen too much happening here, and they just don't have to deal with Kestrel at all.
That's true. I like the Lance ban. Getting Lance off of the board seems pretty safe if you think the other team might prioritize it. Adagio first pickup, not something we see too frequently in most regions right now, but Finn coming through, something that hasn't been the most popular either in Europe. So a little bit of a different draft strategy coming into this game than what we've seen in the past. Of course, the Celeste comes through. Do quite like this pick. The combos between Finn and Celeste, his ability to keep her alive.
It's just so insane. Like once you get past that mid game level 8 on both the Finn and Celeste, that it just completely changes the game. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I thought I was in one game, but now everything's different.
This is very true, especially if you're able to line up some core collapses right on top of those Finn hooks, the force the chords. Looks real nice.
Well, it just, like, when people try to dive onto Celeste, which they inevitably have to do to try and kill her in most cases, it's just the easiest quibbles of your life. It's the easiest core collapses of her life as well. Do you think they go for a little more lockdown, or they get someone with like some execute potential to go with that?
Well, so Celeste actually can do pretty well into Adagio. Adagio doesn't have any gap close to get to her, especially when she hits level 8. So I think the control that she has over the lane is going to be pretty good in the mid game. Glaive, on the other hand, while he can go in, he doesn't really have anyone but Catherine to go in with him. So I'll be curious to see if G2 kind of goes with the old school Catherine way of playing against the Celeste, where you essentially would just get like a Shiver Steel and an Aftershock, maybe your Fountain or a Crucible or whatever, and you just stick to the Celeste the whole time and try to keep her from being able to do anything. You just hold her down, lock her down, be kind of an annoyance, and if she ever uses her ultimate, you just pop up your shield. You don't really see many people do that as much anymore. And there's also Skye to worry about now. They didn't go with like a double frontline composition, so some things for them to think about.
I mean, this is going to come down to like who can get more damage out, the Skye or the Glaive. You get into the late game, you got to imagine it's going to be Skye, but this is Dark Potato's Glaive. He's aggressive, and he can shut down an opponent jungle, a laner, and snowball off of that. So I gotta give pretty good credit over to G2 here. I think our overlays are a little bit maybe off
in the past.
In the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Rising Lotus actually has the easier composition to execute right now, because Glaive has to be able to afterburn in and actually catch a target, knock him in the right place, afterburn correctly, get a bunch of burst damage off, and not die at the same time. Because afterburning into a Finn and Celeste can be pretty dangerous. And then, of course, Adagio only has his boots to be able to reposition around a Skye and a Celeste with pretty long range. So
not going to be easy.
Not going to be easy. Possible to pull off, but I think Rising Lotus actually has the better composition here.
All right, so you're liking G2, you're liking Rising Lotus. One of you
Yeah.
back in each, basically. Here.
Sure.
Sona's liking us.
Sona always is liking us. All right, let's speaking of Sona, let's get into this game. G2 Esports versus Rising Lotus, game 1. Passing it on over to Dr. Sona and Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, full-flavored Fuji and the other two guys on the desk as well. I am liking you. It's true.
That makes one of us.
Well, I know that you don't like them because AJ keeps getting all of the statistics about who's going to Worlds wrong.
And
Even
then
though we give him the information before the cast starts.
he gets it wrong, I correct him. He gets it wrong again, and then he finally goes, oh yeah, someone behind the scenes gave me information, because it's not like Bacon said it twice already, but again! 1 minute, first blood.
1 minute, anything below 1 minute 10 seconds, I think I should just keep talking for the entire first minute of the game, because at some point, someone is going to die.
Oh, this has been absolutely ridiculous today, how quickly these teams have been finding the first kill. Obviously, the first kill of the game, doesn't really matter. Actually, I believe it's been on pace for the first kill. Hasn't actually, no, last game it was. I don't know, it's been about 50-50 probably.
Yeah, probably about that. We haven't actually got the numbers, but we'll pretend it's about 50-50, because that makes us sound good. As
I know it was
commentators.
50-50 in the last series. I know that
It
much.
was. It was 50-50 in the last series. Anyway, it is a slight gold lead for Rising Lotus here now. G2 really a fall from grace for them after having a really good start to this split. They were one of the main contenders, in my opinion, to challenge for that third world
Yeah, they've
spot,
won
but-
split one.
Yeah.
And I mean,
haven't
that's
really
just
shown
such
up.
a harsh drop off. Like to win the first split, like they said on the desk, maybe just got a little bit too overconfident, started thinking, okay, we got this. We're just such a strong team now with this roster change we made. Maybe just got complacent, and it has absolutely blown up in their face because now they're not going to be going to Worlds, and now they're fighting for, trying to avoid a spot in the challenge battles all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a very difficult fight for them as well, and in fact, fighting against Rising Lotus. If Rising Lotus win today, they really push G2 down, especially with Snow Tsunami winning earlier on. I mean, Avalanche are going to be there in the challenge battles no matter what now, sitting at 0 points. Snow Tsunami winning earlier on pushes them up as well, and SK and G2 are looking ominously close to the drop.
Yeah, lots of teams going to be... there's 3 teams currently sitting at 4 points. Rising Lotus win this series, they'll be up at 3, locking G2 into 4. But right now, Hundor...
Says goodbye. Hundor falls, and
Hundor hits
G2
the
on the
floor.
back foot already. They've got this Adagio. They've got the Glaive as well. They're well known for that hero. Hasn't really been able to start kicking off in this game, but they have got a bit of late game power with the Adagio. You have to worry about how they're going to play into Aroniak, who is known for his Celeste.
And with both of these teams, they're kind of struggles that they've had this split. Not even the fans are really terribly sure of who to vote for, as it is 56-44 in favor of G2. But we've got another kill going through. This is actually another kill for the Finn.
I'm going to keep voting for Rising Lotus. He's 3-0, just man. Doing exactly what you have to do on Finn.
Very
Just build a
Finn.
Shatterglass next. You're in prime position. Was of course slightly nerfed. I think it's 123, his crystal power ratio. It's just his damage was reduced, yeah.
It was the damage on the Quibble, but only in the early game.
Well, get to late game, Finn late game carry. That's exactly what we want to see.
I would love to
Obviously,
see
he's
teams
not gonna
actually
go crystal
adapt to
power.
that. Like, the fact that he's got 3 kills. Dark Potato just wandering into 3, has to use that afterburn defensively.
And Redix will frontline this up for a little bit. They want to keep going. Good core collapse onto Hundor, and now Redix on Aroniak actually might be able to take down the Celeste just by himself. Barrage comes out from Lure here. They're going to turn the damage back around onto Redix, but knowing that Aroniak needs to get himself away means that they can't really do too much more here. Justman and Lure should be able to fight into Redix and Dark Potato. Barrage on Dark Potato. He will afterburn away, but the Suri Strike comes out. Good stun onto Lure, but there is the Barrage once again. Not quite connecting as Dark Potato used those boots to get himself out of the action. The target lock here from Lure will be able to chase it down. Redix is trying to dodge his way away and can just about escape with the merciless pursuit. Dark Potato now not in the best position at all. So he strikes across the wall, and Dark Potato will fall.
These Suri strikes from Lure have been absolutely phenomenal. Massive range being used really to its maximum potential and just getting fully repositioned in these fights. However, they might be in some trouble here. We'll see, that is just going to be the Treant going over to Hundor and the retreat from Rising Lotus. But a good start to the game. 4 kills on the board in the first 5 minutes.
big kills as well, being able to take out Dark Potato twice in his jungle. He's being forced back. I mean, he's only 3 CS down, but as a Glaive, you really want to be getting that early game aggression so that you can start to snowball yourself towards that Solar Blade. He's gone towards a Piercing Spear as well early on, so... I mean, I don't want to say it, but is that a tension bow coming out on a Glaive?
This would be a massive throwback. Like, this is how Glaive was built literally about a year ago. This was, it was all about the early game pressure from Glaive. That has always been one of his biggest strengths. You go in with that tension bow, you get a ton of burst. I mean, you can pretty much half health Aroniac or Lure with just a single afterburn. So we'll see. It is the tension bow completed. Don't even need it here as Redix just basically soloed out Aroniac.
It's the power of Stormguard when you're just running in as that Catherine. You do so much work. Justman will get a double cripple off Lure here as well. Let's try to turn it around, but Justman's fallen low. Here comes Dark Potato off the burns in. Good death from above will separate the team. Dark Potato taking a lot of damage, but the forward barrage not quite enough until the Polite Company comes down. Justman, however, gets taken out by Hundo across the wall. Ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange. Justman and Aroniac falling. Of course, only Dark Potato going down for G2. Aroniac is a little bit aggressive. There's the stun. Redix just storm guards it up. He's just going to be able to take him out 1v1 again until Lure says, excuse me, I'd like it if you leave my Celeste alone.
Yeah, and as much as we are saying it's 1v1s, it's not quite 1v1. Redix has been getting
1v1.
the buff, but he's been getting the buff from Adagio. That's where a lot of the damage has actually been coming from. But it's still, it's really just funny to watch a Catherine just kind of walk into someone and just start attacking them to death. But yeah, no, Hundor is playing a large role in those kills. It's just, I mean, right now, 2-5, very aggressive game thus far after the last one that we just witnessed.
Incredibly slow game in the last one, 17 minutes, and it was 4-2. I can't even remember the final scoreline. Great force to Cord comes out. There's the death from above as well, and Hundor is stunned up. Dark Potato looking for a bit of a flank here. Polite Company comes down. Lure not quite in the position to use that forward barrage as effectively as he'd like yet. Only sitting on the Broken Myth. We did see the Solar Storm used by Aroniac as well, and G2 do just have to pull back behind this turret. They fall back to fortifications, and they'll see if they can defend them for now.
They're just going to be looking to try and clear out these minions as quickly as they can. Dark Potato still looking for an opportunity.
Oh, here he goes. Blast Tremor. Lure is the target, and Lure goes down even through the fountain. Melted down there by Dark Potato. Here comes Justman. Aroniac. Dark Potato gets stunned off towards the side, and they're not able to chase. Aroniac only sitting on that Broken Myth, not in the big Celeste power spike he'd like to be yet. And we're starting to see G2 get back into the action.
Yeah, Hundor also in a similar situation has the alternating current, but really wants to get that Broken Myth to be at the 2-item power spike for the Adagio. Really, pretty much every CP laner, it's kind of that 2-item power spike is the big one that they're looking to reach before they really start committing to fights. But already here now, Hundor is going to be a little bit closer as he does go for that heavy prism. Gets a little bit of shielding because it is double crystal that they are up against.
Double Crystal, second time we've seen this evening. Of course, we saw it last game as well. Samuel and, or I guess it's actually, it's evening here in Europe. Where we are. It's going to go on towards Lure, looking for the stun once again with the Merciless Pursuit. Lure will try and turn it around, but not able to get too much out of that. And they, yeah, as you say, they just haven't got those 2 items yet. If they can farm up a little bit and get themselves up towards those spikes, you have to think Double Crystal Power will do a lot of work later on in this game.
Aroniac did just hit his 2-item spike, finishing off that Eve of Harvest. So we're going to have a little bit more sustainability in these fights and skirmishes. But for now, looks like G2 looking to invade this jungle aggressively. They're going to find Lure.
That they are. Lure needs to try and Sewer Strike away. Does manage to get himself off to safety. Redix catching out 2 members coming down from Rising Lotus means that not much will happen today. And G2 do just back away. They didn't actually even take any of the jungle there. They're happy just to force out the death from above and then start up on this gold mine, which should be pretty easily secured for them. Justman does have force the cord. Go for it, mate. Go for the steal. Not quite going to get it. Blast Tremor comes out onto him to stop him getting any sort of steal action off.
I'm not too sure I agree with using the Blast Tremor there with how aggressive this game has been, but they're going to be fighting a fight right after.
Aroniac just gets destroyed. That tension bow doing absolute work for Dark Potato. Lure wasn't in the right place at the right time and just not able to defend his lane carry. This is really G2 coming back into the action after falling behind very early on.
Yeah, and I guess Lure just really didn't expect the rotate to be that quick. Once the goldmine call out goes out, you know where your opponents are, and typically you can kind of time like how long it's going to take them to rotate up from the goldmine. But Lure was just not, or Roniak, sorry, was just not prepared whatsoever.
Not at all. Now, once again, we're going to see Redix being the aggressive one here. On to learn just man. That gift of fire doing work for him. Hundor, though, gets pulled in with the force of cord, and Hundor should go down. He heals himself up. The Ancient of the Burst comes out as well. Keeps himself alive through all of it. Almost takes out Just Man as well. Won't quite be able to do it, and Redix will fall as well. But imagine if Dark Potato was there. That would have been a totally different fight. Dark Potato will find out the sky, but won't be able to make her fall yet. And 7-4 with only a 300 gold differential between these teams.
And while Dark Potato being there may have changed that fight quite a bit, you really can't blame him for not being there, as that was just a beautiful forced accord from Justman. He is, thankfully he's a Finn, because there's lots of room up on that back of his. He is putting Rising Lotus on it.
Trying to carry the team as much as he can. Carry them to Mount Doom in Mordor and help them capture the one ring they want. All the prize they want at the end of this is to be able to actually perhaps win out a week of the second split here of Evil 8. But we'll have to see how they do into G2, who are the winners of the first split. Redix, once again, there's the force accord, will pull him in. Not really the target you want. If you can get that carry, that tank low early on, you might be able to win out the rest of the fight. Hundor jumps in, gets a kill for himself. Lure now underneath the turret. Dark Potato takes a lot of damage from the 4 barrage. Will be able to get himself away. And at the moment, Lure and Aroniak just not able to keep themselves alive for long enough in these fights, especially Aroniak. Keeps falling early on and keeps allowing G2 some of the advantage.
Yeah, and you said go fighting for a victory here. Like, it's all about just not being in those challenge battles, having the peace of mind that knowing your spot in the Evil 8 is not at risk. Rising Lotus, they of course know about that risk more than really anyone coming in through the challenge battles last season. So they know just how much risk there is of being down there. And not only that, but the prize money. You get a lot more money if you finish outside of those bottom 3 positions.
Perfect sense. Redix going to get onto Justman here, just takes him out. Barely takes any damage from the turret as well. Aroniak not there to protect his Roma, and this is what we see G2 doing time and time again. You don't need 2 carries there to take down a Finn. If you have an Adagio and just, heal up, give the Agent of Wrath buff off towards that Redix as well, you can just absolutely melt through any target, assuming they don't have a way of bursting you down in return.
Now, the thing I find interesting here is Lure actually opted to overdrive both the Surrey Strike and Forward Barrage, not putting 3 points into the Death from Above, whereas typically you do see Death from Above get maximized for as much damage as possible to come out of that ultimate, with it being on such a short cooldown. But Lure wanted to be able to have just the damage when he goes for those Surrey Strikes jumping across the team, which earlier he was making those kinds of plays. Long-range Surrey Strikes doing could output a lot of damage, but it hasn't really been the case as of late. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wonder if maybe putting a 3rd point into the ultimate would have been worthwhile.
But there is the Death from Above coming down. Fountain used as well. Pretty early on, but the Blast Tremor did come out and he wanted to get it out before that was used. Redix goes low, does get stunned up, almost falls. Here comes Dark Potato though, onto Aroniak, and that is a very dead Celeste. So 1-for-1 trade. Roam for Lena though. G2 will be happy with that trade in their books. Hundor looking for Justman. Dark Potato here as well. Does have Afterburn backup. Trying to take down the Finn. Will melt through him incredibly quickly and takes him out of the action straight away. Now Lure just gets dived by Hundor. G2 rolling all over Rising Lotus.
Very nice dive from Hundor. Recognized that Dark Potato was still going to be tanking up at least 2 more turret shots. So says, okay, I can avoid 2 turret shots and still be taking this fight. Gets the kill, and they get the turret with that ace buff. Very nicely played from G2.
Incredibly nicely played from them, and they will get that first turret, as you say. They take a 3,000 gold lead, even that score line out as well. And with the Kraken just spawning, G2 definitely have control of this jungle. It's an Aftershock build on Redix as well, so looking even more towards doing that damage. It's a common build on Catherine, not too shocking to see, but can do a lot of work into these sort of squishier carries that she gets on the back line.
They're going to be having a fight right here. Reddick's taking a lot of damage, using the Blast Tremor, even though there really isn't any follow-up from the rest of the team.
Oh, here comes the Force Accord. Will drag Redix in, though. Dark Potato off towards the side. He's very good at flanking maneuvers in these fights. He's positioning himself very, very well to try and get the surprise on towards Rising Lotus. Won't be able to surprise them here. He's right up in their faces, and he's going for Lure. He gets Just Man instead. Just with that Blood Song doing absolute work. Ironiac caught off towards the side as well. G2 have the Fountain, of course. There's the Solar Storm as well, but Hundor will heal himself up through it until that final Helio comes down. Full Barrage on Dark Potato, the stun from Redix. Lure might look for the chase here. Should be able to take out Redix in a 1v1. And will. 11 kills to 11. Incredibly close on the scoreline, but G2 definitely with the momentum in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things about Skye into Catherine is the damage from your forward barrage can actually sometimes sneak underneath that shield. The damage has to actually hit a certain threshold for it to really be blocked. And so because each tick of the forward barrage is so low, a lot of times we do end up actually seeing it not activate the reflect damage from the Stormguard shield. And so Redix, despite the fact that you'd think that that would actually work really well against Lure, he wasn't actually able to do much damage to him.
Not quite as much damage as he would like. Hundor, though, caught out here by Rising Lotus. Solar Storm comes out, hits Dark Potato. There's the Fountain. Aroniac is just dead. The Blast Tremor comes out, and Lure, the new target here for Dark Potato, will get stunned up. Death from Above comes down as well. Dark Potato somehow still alive in the midst of all of the raining fire. Rising Lotus lose out 2 members, and G2 on the chase, on the hunt here for Lure. Going to try and take him down. They won't spot him. Now they will as he steps over that scout trap. Redix should just chase him away. Hundor's going to shop up, get himself some boots. Look for a bit of a chase here and won't spot him as he gets back to Sanctuary. So G2 not able to complete the ace.
Aroniac needs to do something differently. Either it's just play further back, pick up some armor, something has to give, because he's just been constantly the target for Dark Potato and just getting deleted. And while he does have a similar amount of death as the tank, like, that shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't have the same amount of deaths as your tank. And not only that, but a lot of those deaths on Justman have come because it's been 2-on-3 fights right from the get-go in favor of G2. So hopefully Aroniac will start just... I feel like just playing further back is really all that needs to happen, but maybe some defensive itemizations, but doesn't seem to be really looking for that at all.
Not quite looking for it yet. Maybe a little bit later on, but not really working out for them either here. Aroniac keeps getting taken down in these fights. He's doing a lot of damage, but needs to be a little bit safer, as you say. The Kraken's going to push in here. G2 looking to take down these turrets as they get this push continuing. It's a little bit tricky for them because a lot of their plays are being flanked up till now. Aroniac caught out. Dark Potato not going to jump in on that. They're going to keep that Kraken going. Here comes the Force Accord. Hundor caught. Here's Dark Potato, though, going on towards that back line. Does take a huge amount of damage from the forward barrage. Hundor tanking up the turret as well. G2 should be able to back away from this one and just accept that they get that turret down. Redix takes a bit of hurt. Does still have the Blast Trem. He's still got Burst and Blood Song available as well. So G2 might look for the re-engage. They've even got the Fountain if they want to use it. Kraken going for that third turret in the row. Let's see if he can help G2 out a little bit. There is the Blast Tremor. They're going for Aroniac, trying to stun him back. Afterburn was in from Dark Potato as well, and Aroniac is just dead. Dark Potato gets taken out as well. Lure off towards the side, keeps himself alive for the time being. The turret has fallen. Here's Hundor onto Lure. One more auto would have been enough, but Lure gets himself back towards Sanctuary. Justman as well with the Force. The cord will drag them back. Hundor will fall to the final turret shot. Kraken still pushing in, and that will allow Redix of a pre get himself away. But this Kraken will go down, taking 2 turrets for its favor.
2 turrets and doing a little over half the damage to the first crystal turret. That was a solid push from G2. They didn't give up an ace, as Redix is the lone surviving member. But Dark Potato went very aggressively, got onto Aroniac, but unfortunately was also just very far forward, ended up taking both of those crystal turrets onto him as a result. So And then a nice force support from Justman again was able to secure the kill onto Hundor, but G2 have been making the plays. They've been making far more happen off of these kills that they've picked up. As you can see, 14 to 14 on the kills, but the turrets tell a totally different story of this game.
That they do, and it's all G2 all the time at the moment. They're getting good flanks off. Is there a point at which this glaive starts to fall away, though? You know, tension-based Blade is doing a lot of work. Perhaps if Aroniak decided that he needed armor at some point, it would help. Obviously, not deciding he wants that just quite yet, looking towards what appears to be a second broken myth instead.
Yeah, there is a point where the glaive falls off, but it's when your opponents build armor. And the only armor in the game belongs to Justman. Like, that is when you're getting hit by this glaive so frequently, yeah, I understand that the Adagio is your big threat, but you need at least a little bit here to deal with Dark Potato, especially someone like Aroniak, who has gone down 7 times in this game, half of the team's deaths.
Yeah, really not what you want to be seeing on your Celeste as well. He's meant to be one of the safer backline carries. This is going to be them looking for their first start of the game. Rising Lotus starting to take perhaps a little bit of an advantage as they push G2 back. Redix taken low, will just fall back behind the turret. It's only 1,300 gold the difference between these two teams. Incredibly close, Kraken back on the cards as well. I'm going to start to see those infusions coming out. Crystal, as you'd expect, on both Aroniak and Lure. And Justman's got his Crystal as well. Hundor sitting on a Crystal. Redix as well. And Dark Potato, the one man out of 6 who says, nope, I want my weapon infusion. I mean, it makes sense. Like you wouldn't build a Crystal infusion on Glaive, but still. I feel like he was just making a stand. His team was like, no, get Crystal, be one of the gang, be one of the gang. Don't give in to peer pressure, guys. Sometimes you've got to get weapon infusions.
Well, right now, I mean, the pressure from Rising Lotus is much higher when it comes to these sieging situations. Like, they can poke and harass and siege up turrets far more effectively than what G2 can, but G2 obviously has that hard engage. We'll see if they use it. Redix actually has an Aftershock, extra cooldown, a little bit of extra burst damage too, but Aroniak's going to be the target.
The stun was onto a minion! He afterburns in and stuns one of the jungle camps. That's not what you want to do. Aroniak is totally safe in the back line of this fight. Here comes Redix looking for it. There's Dark Potato in again. He might take down Aroniak this time, but he just can't quite do it and he will fall. Dark Potato with a slight misplay may have cost G2 everything in this game.
I don't even think that the misplay of hitting the minion cost them everything. It was going back in, and Redix and Hundor just stood there and watched. Like, he went back in, he got onto Aroniak. Redix and Hundor were nowhere close to that fight after the re-engage by Dark Potato. I don't know what just happened to G2 there.
A little bit of miscoordination. Now, Redix does still have Blast Tremor, can look for the seal. Hundor can do a lot of work with a good burst here as well. The Kraken is low. Here comes Redix, has used the Blast Tremor. Hundor takes a lot of pain from the side. There's the Solar Storm as well. Kraken will be the target and they'll take that one down. Dark Potato is still 15 seconds away. But there are 4 turrets between Rising Lotus and closing out this game. So he will definitely be back in action in time to help G2 try and hold on to a slither of hope.
I think Redix and Hundor were telling Dark Potato not to re-engage, but Dark Potato was like, no, Sona said, don't give in to peer pressure.
Yeah.
Trust your dreams. And, well, it didn't work for them.
That was definitely all my doing there. Now, Redix will go on to Justman to try and get that stun up. He's got 52 stacks on that passive. I think that's the highest I've ever seen on a Catherine. The Kraken pushing in. Death from Above does come out from Lure. Tries to Suri strikes back in. If you can apply one of those Frost Burn slows alongside Helios as the enemy team retreats, that's absolutely huge. Force Accord onto Dark Potato. He gets onto Aroniak. They're looking for the Celeste straight away. Takes her low, takes her down, and G2 now can turn around this fight. Lure there will be the last man standing for Rising Lotus. 3 members of G2 on the chase here. Hundor just caught out by the edge of that Death from Above. Actually, Dark Potato messes up the afterburn across the wall. Lure's going to turn it back around onto Hundor, but shouldn't be able to take him out. It will be the shutdown and the ace. The Kraken will continue to push in here, but
they're going to race it.
It looks like G2 are just going to race it and go for the base.
They should be able to take this. 30 seconds on the death timers. It'll be interesting to see if Aroniak and Justman do respawn in time. Kraken is going to continue working and should actually get taken down before it can take out the crystal just by the turrets and the turret explosions. But I don't think it's even going to matter because G2 are taking out these turrets very quickly.
That they are. They're even going to use the burst to try and take them down. Aroniak will be up in 1 second, but it will be Adjustments there as well. It's still a 2v3. I don't think they can do this.
No.
The crystal will fall. Jill 2 will take it right at the end. Almost threw the game away in the midsection, but able to close it out at the end.
And they did their best to throw, but ended up with a victory as they managed to pull it together for one final fight. And then nice call there to recognize that they have the damage to take down the turrets before Kraken would be able to do so to their own. And well, imagine that when Dark Potato goes in, if Hundor and Redix are with him, it's a lot more effective.
That it is. We're going to hand it over to the Yummy Dummies on the analyst desk. Action Jackson, Fuji, and Humanist, take it away.
I don't know what to say anymore. Both about the game and Sona's remarks.
He just wanted to say honey bunnies there, but he went with
Perhaps.
the yummy dummies. Whatever. We'll give it to him.
Okay, so let's break down that game. That was quite an intense, like, back and forth, long match. Glaive isn't something we see super frequently nowadays, and I feel like his impact during that game was very varied. Like, he had good moments, he also had moments where he couldn't do anything.
I mean, it's the typical case, I think, with Glaives. When you're all in, I mean, when you're in, you're all in, right? I mean, you don't really have a lot of ways to get out other than just using boots. And we see that them trying to kind of find that right positioning was not always working, which is, I think, why the game was going a little bit longer. Because if for some reason there's a mistake that's made on the engage with Afterburn, you tend to just get like 100 to 0 because you don't have another way to really go around it. And Glaive and Catherine don't necessarily have the best synergy together either. So I mean, I really think the only reason why they were able to push the win is just because the positioning issues and errors coming out of Lotus was just really unfortunate. Like, Celeste should never really be close enough to get engaged on by the Glaive without having some substantial peel coming out. And kiting in the same direction together would have been nice. Just let Finn sit in front, pull them back away from you, but just lots of uncoordinated movement.
We haven't seen a lot of Celeste in Europe until this week, and now we're seeing a lot of Celeste. Do you think perhaps the teams are like, okay, finally we've realized she's good, but we haven't had that much chance to practice on her yet? So that's why we're seeing so many questionable positionings from Celeste?
To a certain extent, but I think on the sign out there, I mean, Bacon also made a really good point, which was there were times where Glaive initiated and his Adagio and Catherine decided, you know what, we're not going to make it over there with you this time. And Dark Potato's like, okay, I'll be respawning in about 35 seconds or so, team. Mm-hmm. When they were able to move forward with the Glaive initiation, they tended to take fights. And it wasn't just the Celeste getting engaged on. Like, if they could take this guy, like, he was very happy to engage right there.
Yeah, I mean, Glaive is really good at getting and doing lots of bursty damage. I actually think I would have preferred to see some more, like, prioritized defense coming out of Lotus there. Like, not just saying we're just going to build like triple offensive items and hope we win. Like, if you survive the initial engage from a Glaive, he's stuck, and a lot of times you can just turn it around right on top of them and take the victory.
Right.
All right, well, we're into the draft for Game 2 here. Rising Lotus behind 1 point, trying to claw it back. G2 looking to lock things in, make it to Day 2. Have to see if they can do it. Rising Lotus on the blue side has first pick, first ban for this game.
2, 1.
Oh, goodbye, Lance.
See you later.
Ciao.
See you, nerds. Lance is out of the picture for this one. Rising Lotus not prioritizing him as the pick, therefore not wanting G2 to have him either.
I'm curious to see what G2 do here. I mean, are they going to put emphasis on the Celestial? I mean, they're highlighted on Kestrel. It seems like the direction they may take.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Rising Lotus thinks that maybe Celeste is the pickup for them. Didn't ban anything. Just let it go through.
They say, you know what? Let's leave some options on the table here. See what happens.
We want it all. Everything.
Everything.
We'll take Celeste. We'll take Kestrel. We'll take Lance. That's a composition I don't think I've ever seen run. Just simply because I don't think anyone's ever let all those picks go to one side.
No, but like legit, actually, when we were drafting, we didn't do that, and we had the option, and we took the Finn with it, with the Celeste.
That's why you're the art of the throw.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of other teams have also chose to pair the Finn with the Kestrel or Celeste over the Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rome Lance is kind of the reason. Like, I'm personally never really been the biggest fan of Roam Lance for most of the roamers out there. We do see a couple actually make pretty effective plays with the pick, but it's not always guaranteed. But you know, the more that some of these roams really grind out, like these roam mains grind out this Lance over and over and over again, like we're talking about months and months now, like we're actually finally seeing some more effective roam Lance play after such a almost a disparity of times where I would just constantly see missed impale here and Githian wall misused here, and like it's just, yeah, I mean, like your early game was easy in the past, and then when they nerfed Lance, he kind of fell off again until people started realizing I actually need to land these things more frequently, more often in order to have an impact. I can't just delete someone in the wrong position, as fun as that might be.
I feel like Fuji has nightmares and Lance just missing impales. Like, that's all that happens when you close your eyes at night, huh?
Oh, man. The dreams in ranked queue are all lost when that Roam Lance locks in, because you never know. But it extends to Evil 8 as well, because it is a difficult thing to play. It's a lot of pressure in the late game to think about your actives while also landing some of those skill shots, whereas Quibble, things like Merciless Pursuit, even Vanguard, are much easier to pull off while also doing activatables.
All right, well, I believe we are going to be in the draft fairly soon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having a look at the chat on my other screen here. It looks like G2 bans Kestrel. They needed to, of course, declare what they were going to get rid of.
They had to declare it before they could actually, like, lock it in. They just wanted to be able to vocally shout it out.
Yeah, I mean, we have to make the players pick and ban things after a reset off the actual draft, because otherwise they have additional time. But Rising Lotus G2, they're actually going to be drafting off screen just in case it dies again, so we'll walk you through it as we see what happens here. Rising Lotus get rid of the Lance. G2, as we said, ban the Kestrel. Rising Lotus have some options now.
What are those options, Humanist? An endless supply.
They're endless supply, but they're highlighted on the Adagio right now. I mean, this is something they have played before, and this is also a denial away from G2, who plays it in the roam position with Redix and also obviously in the lane.
Yeah. Kind of interesting to see Adagio being prioritized as a first pick for both teams. Oh, there's the Lyra. I was actually going to say I don't really prefer it. I think there's ways you can handle and deal with Adagio. The fact that Celeste was dying to Adagio getting splash from like the minion wave and bootsing with an empowered auto attacks and killing her, that's just like misplay. That's not even like something like Adagio can accomplish that, but it's really only on the back foot of Celeste mispositioning. You shouldn't ever be that close to the minion wave to begin with to get that heal on you.
This is pure G2 right here.
Fortress. Yeah.
Here comes the damage. We're going to like put it.
Oh, and there's the Ozo pedal. No, I'm just trolling you guys.
Whoa, just snapped my neck.
So Adagio, Fortress on the side of G2, Rising Lotus now has Lyra. They're trying to figure out what the next pick is. They think Vox might be that answer.
Huh?
Good against the Fortress Wolves. Burst them down real quick if you go CP.
Well, you can definitely kite pretty well. That being said, it depends on what the last pick of G2 is, as Rising Lotus does lock in Blackfeather.
I think CP Blackfeather, a little weapon box.
Little box, little CP Blackfeather. Double weapon, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what they think. A lot of times teams will try some different things to see what they want to counter with. Not a lot of practice into this Fortress, I'm sure, for most of these teams. But Kroll and Fortress I like a lot. Kroll is pretty strong when you build him correctly, even in the kind of level 3 and plus phase of the game. But the lifesteal you now get, like coming out of Fortress, is huge. Kroll already benefits from that as well.
Do you overdrive your A in this situation?
I still overdrive Smite, always.
I overdrive Smiles? Wait, is that what you said?
Smite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I know. I think the
My
Smite...
Smalt.
It's a full second extra on your A when it's overdriven, though. Just the case, just something to ponder on.
Overdrive A and B. Leave your ultimate sitting on 2. That can be good sometimes. We'll have to see what they do, though.
So, now that you've seen both the full comps, who are you guys favoring as we head on to the fold for Game 2?
I really like the idea behind G2's comp. It's very aggressive, and if they can actually have the Fortress and Kroll continue to make plays, I think they'll win. But if they just rotate like normal, Rising Lotus may actually take the victory.
I think it'll come down to like the first 5 minutes. If G2 don't get invaded or smashed really hard, they should do just fine this game and take it.
All right, well, we're on to the fold, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 2 of Rising Lotus versus G2 Esports. Let's pass it on over to Dr. Sona and Tasty Bacon.
Thank you very much, you tantalizing trio. We are here for Game 2, as you say. going to be up to these two teams to see who goes through to tomorrow. As you said earlier on, nothing really at stake for World's positioning, but a lot at stake in regards to the bottom side of that Evil 8 table.
Yeah, absolutely. As with the G2 again able to pick up the victory that gives them the leg up on the rest of the bottom half of the Evil 8 standings. All about just avoiding those challenge battles.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to do. If you can stay away from the challenge battles, you are in a prime position. We've seen teams that thought they were pretty secure falling down in the past, and G2 will have definitely thought they were pretty secure coming out of Split 1. Now, let's have a quick look at these lineups. Lima, Blackfeather, Vox coming out here for Rising Lotus. So a little bit more Vox than we've seen recently. You know, Cavalfar's been playing a lot. We've seen a couple of people playing a little bit more now, but perhaps not entirely meta. And then the Blackfeather coming out for them as well here.
Yeah, Blackfeather has been a pick that has gotten a lot of popularity in the last few weeks. Hasn't really been picked much at all until he got a couple of buffs that really helped him out. But Fortress, G2, this has kind of been a G2 specialty. Even going back to the live championships, they played Fortress a few times there as well. Told us they were really big on the pick. It kind of caught us by surprise because they said that they really like the pick for its late game power, whereas you typically think of Fortress and you think of the early game strengths that it has.
Here comes Dark Potato. We'll get caught up in the bright bulwark, trying to run his way away. Lure looking for the chase. Doesn't have 6 yet, so can't Rose offensive in. Redix takes a bit of pain in response as well. Aroniac doing a good job of bouncing around. Now, if you're Aroniac, do you go Crystal Power Vox Hill? Do you stick with the weapon power build that we tend to see?
I feel like for the Vox, the weapon power is just the best way to go with it right now. We could see the Crystal come out just because you are going to have Fortress and Kroll like constantly in your face, and Adagio has to get somewhat close as well, so the resistance bounces can work. But right now, Justman going to be in some trouble. But most of the jungle did go over to Rising Lotus there, so they're not going to be too concerned about that invade.
Hero Sigil does get you away as well. Hundle will get jumped on here. The on point comes out as well, and he has to use his boots to get himself away. It's a long cooldown with those level 1 boots as well. About 150 seconds or so before those will be back up. So over 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, if you want to be precise. Learn Justman might be a little bit caught here. They'll spot Hundo around the corner, and they might try and trade onto him, but he's leading them straight into the trap that he set up. Hundo will fall, though, to Justman. Lure's going to try and get away from Redix. In fact, could probably trade into him if he has another on point up. Aroniac's going to come out and help Justman. Imperial Sigil and the Spectral Smite not quite enough, and Redix takes down Lure down towards the bottom side. Did not expect that to go in favor of the Wolf.
Yeah, well, down, back up in the lane. Sorry, Dark Potato stops in the brush, gets the heroic perk, and charges forward, landing all of his abilities to Deadman's Rush and Spectral Smite on to Justman, finding a kill there as well. So great job by G2 to find these opportunities. Lure is back, will actually steal away that jungle minion, so nice job with the on point there. But a couple of kills for G2. One thing I really want to point out, Dark Potato, first item purchased, Stormguard banner on a Kroll. This is something that we have not seen yet.
Now, we haven't seen a lot of Krull, in fact, this split. You know, he hasn't really been meta since about spring, in all honesty. We did see a bit of him in the Summer Championships as well. Redix and Hundor might go down here. Aroniac looking for the chase. One more also will be enough. Aroniac will take him down. A quick double for him. Actually, one going across to Lure, so not quite the double kill, but now Rising Lotus can look towards this turret as well. And Aroniac is going down that Crystal Power Box build.
And they know that Dark Potato is not going to be wanting to take much time out of his jungle to come up to this lane, so they just put all 3 members there, find themselves 2 kills, and find a turret. Dark Potato with Kroll, that's one of the downsides of Kroll, is that you're going to be spending a lot of time just focusing on solo farming up the jungle, and if your opponents can take advantage of that situation in the lane, they can get a lot of work done.
They can. Rising Lotus needs to get back up towards this lane, though, to defend this turret. G2, of course, looking to take this 2-0 if they can. It'll be the 3rd game in a row that's gone 2-0 over here in Europe. Not a common sight. Usually we're much more attuned to best of 3s going all the way. Dark Potato has finished his Storm Crown up now as well. Aroniac just sitting on that alternating current. So you said this before with, you know, Crystal Power carries. Is Vox just similar in the fact that he needs that 2-item spike before he really gets going?
100%. Like, Vox, without having 2 items, like, having the 1 item makes with the alternating current makes your farming a lot easier. so you can actually get to that second item, but you really are not terribly effective in team fights until you get a broken myth completed as well. Dark Potato
will get called out. Justman actually with the from Hell's Heart. Dark Potato's just going to get so much damage down, and Lure and Aroniac looking for the chase onto the core. Lure going very deep for this one. Will take out Dark Potato in the end, and Reddick's actually going to be turned on here by Rising Lotus. Hundor has taken a long time to really join this fight. Aroniac ran away a little bit there, and Lure is like, excuse me, Aroniac, I need you to help me take down Hundor. He's only level 5. You do need to be very scared of an Adagio. Hasn't got that alternating current yet. And Rising Lotus will take away a bit of the jungle after winning out the battle in the middle of that jungle.
I feel like Hundor not having an alternating current was a large reason of why G2 were not able to win that one. Just wasn't really able to contribute much, despite the fact that Dark Potato made a play. He got that boomerang shot on the From Hell's Heart, and huge stun onto Justman, but just 1v3 when he started that wasn't quite enough to do more than just trade out a single kill.
Not quite at that power crawl stage, you know, he's approaching it, he's on his way. But,
I'm really curious as to what he's going to actually end up building off of this, because as I mentioned, I have not seen the Stormcrown Krull before. It's any time that we have seen Krull, it's always the Shiver Steel first item, very, very tanky, and then only a single damage item. That's the vast majority of the Krulls that do come out with a breaking point as that lone item, but the Stormcrown is something that I haven't seen before, so I honestly don't know where exactly Dark Potato is going to go with this. I would assume it's still going to be a very tank-focused build, but there's a lot of different possibilities you can do with a Stormcrown.
I think I've seen this once or twice before, if my memory serves correctly, and I expect him probably to get that Shiver Steel, but mostly just go tank from here on in. It's not about building much more on hit. You're just using your Stormcrown as your on-hit damage, and having that as your main source of DPS. Redix gets caught out a little bit here. Justman will slow him up, and Redix not really working out where he wanted to go there. Was caught between a rock and a hard place, and Rising Lotus say thank you very much. We'll take you out and turn our attentions over to the gold mine.
They are going to be able to actually take down this gold mine. G2, I don't even know if they know this is going on because, well, here comes Dark Potato. Charge in,
Won't
doesn't
be able
get
to
there
speed
in
it
time.
away, and actually might be caught out a little bit here. The sticky situation will fall to it's Justman who is able to actually secure the kill. But Rising Lotus once again looking good in the early game. They did this last game though as well, and G2 were able to turn it back in their favor later on.
And then we'll see if they can have another late game comeback, but they're up against a very late game oriented team in the draft that Rising Lotus have with a Crystal Vox. That's going to come online later on. Same thing with Lure on this Blackfeather. Has the breaking point. I would expect the Serpent's Mask to also come out and then just full on tank from there. It is very difficult to take down a Blackfeather that gets into the late game.
Most decidedly is, especially when you haven't got pure burst damage as well. All of the damage coming out from G2 here is sustained damage throughout a fight. They can try and stop that Blackfeather from doing too much work by getting those weakness stacks building up, but the problem then is who's focusing on the Vox. Aroniac, Broken Myth, and Alternating Current will start melting through you as well, especially with Attack of the Pack to bounce off. Those resonance bounces can do a lot of work. Now, Dark Potato is positioned back towards the back of this team fight. There comes the beautiful road defensive to stop the From Hell's Heart. Aroniac will go low. Hundor almost takes him out, but should fall to Lure here. Lure going very deep. Here comes the burst. Will get stunned up. Dark Potato's on him with those weakness stacks. And G2, even though we saw Lure playing an absolutely beautiful start to the fight, Rising Lotus on the back foot, having to retreat away. Justman's given himself for the team here, trying to get away and allow Aroniac to escape, which is exactly what he'll do. But G2 win out the team fight.
It's so upsetting if you're Lure. You make that huge play, block From Hell's Heart, but your team you can't find a kill. And now Aroniac, 1 versus 1 against Dark Potato, not going to be able to do much. Does steal away the minion though. And that was the plan all along.
Yeah, that's the important thing. As long as you can steal away the minion, that is the vital moment of the game. One minion steal can turn a game absolutely upside down. It flips it around.
We'll see what it really does. Right, is it just tilt your opponent so much? Because you're like, I just lost a 1v1 trade onto a minion to a Crystal Vox. Like you just end up getting completely tilted and just can't play the same for the rest of the game.
What am I, some sort of scrub? I didn't realise this was rock solid. I thought this was Evil 8. I can't even secure a minion. Although I say that, I'm a roam main, and like...
To be fair though, I mean,
didn't
it's a
secure a
Krull. Like, Krull should not lose a minion to anyone, let alone a Crystal Vox. Like,
That is true. He's actually sitting on 58 CS, which is quite high for a Krull. I mean, usually you see Krulls get around to the sort of low 40s, mid 40s mark, and then just stick there for the rest of the game, because you don't really need that much more farm after that. It's actually out-farming Lure by about 18, which is a big lead to take. Aroniak's slightly ahead of Hundor, about 10 to him, but it just shows where the gold prioritization is actually for these two teams. Hundor's slightly behind just because he hasn't had that gold funneled onto him. Dark Potato walks into 3 members. Just Man his target though, and Just Man will go down straight away. Dark Potato with the fountain healing him up will get himself out of here. And here he goes looking for the re-gauge. Lure, the target from Hell's Heart across the wall. Dark Potato says thank you very much. Please don't go surfing where there may be sharks, because you will get eaten by them. And Dark Potato will help them do it. Hundor should be able to chase out Aroniak here. Redix as well. It's a double for Hundor, and it's an ace for G2. Now turn their eyes over to that gold mine as well, and maybe even get their first turret of the game.
just barely getting that ace. Just Man respawned right after. Slight little consolation prize. Aroniak did get one of those back minions as a resonance bounce that went out after he died.
Couldn't even take a minion down. I'm so tilted for G2 now.
But, yeah, getting the ace there, great job. Dark Potato is just very difficult to kill at this point. Not only is he building tanky himself, you've got the heals coming out from Hundor, the Fountain of Renewal from Redix, and, I mean, he just dove in at 1v3 and stayed alive for so long once his team was able to join in, and there was just so much damage being done as a result as well. Redix, though,
might get caught out a little bit here by Rising Lotus. Now, what they don't realize is Dark Potato says, thank you very much, I'm coming for the engage. Lure, the target, Hundor on Aroniak as well, and Lure will get stunned up with the From Hell's Heart. There's the burst as well, just to ward off the rest of Rising Lotus. Redix doesn't have attack of the pack. It will be up in 2 seconds, and they may look for the dive as soon as it comes. Here he goes. Not going to attack the pack just quite yet. Here it comes. There's the ult. Dark Potato in to the fray. Aroniak the target. Wait for it comes out. Dark Potato needs to keep himself alive and will just about survive. No, the final bit of the Imperial Sigil takes him down. G2 do pick up 2 though and take themselves 10-8 ahead.
and they still haven't gotten this turret, but with only Just Man here to defend it, well, they're just going to try and make sure that Just Man isn't there to defend it. Just Man doing what he can to buy time, and he will be successful.
He will, keeping Lure there as well, and Hundor might actually fall to Lure here. Well, probably should, in all honesty. Trying to dodge his way around, but Lure says, thank you very much, I'll take you out. And it's actually still a gold lead here for Rising Lotus, because of that turret, because of a slight farm advantage in the lane as well. Lure's sitting about 1,000 ahead. I do apologise if you can hear fireworks in the background. It's November the 5th here, which is fireworks night, and some people letting them off around my house.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, it's so it's actually a celebration. There was a guy who tried to blow up our Houses of Parliament, basically your Congress. Quite a few, like before America was established as a country, this happened. And then he was caught in the act, and we celebrate by blowing things up in the sky every 5th of November.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's our 4th of July. It's like the fireworks day, so
yeah, it's the same basic premise except with a different background.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually kind of did not know that, but I haven't been able to hear them, so
that's good then.
I don't believe they will be heard on the stream. But right now, they are going to be fireworks as this fight starts up.
We'll have to see what goes on here. There is the attack of the pack. Redix jumps in. The rest of his team is quite a long way away, though. Here comes the From Hell's Heart from Dark Potato, waiting on the positioning. Rising Lotus on the wrong side of the map for their liking. They need to get back over to safety, back towards Sanctuary. And Dark Potato doesn't want them to get there. He's going to look for the chase on towards Lure. Needs to get that Spectral Smite off. Needs to get some healing. Bounty will do it for now. Redix is low, though, and really engaged without the rest of his team. G2 now 2 members against the world, against Rising Lotus, who are pushing in. Almost takes down Dark Potato. He will be able to get back to Sanctuary. Will be able to heal himself back up. Hundor looking for perhaps some protection. This turret will fall to Rising Lotus. Gonna take them a while. Lure will go low, but they do manage to keep him alive as they back off for the time being.
And G2 have just been constantly, like, this has been a very consistent trend for them, this split, looking for fights without being fully coordinated, and having just one person being fully engaged while the rest of the team is like, we don't really want to go in on this. And you mentioned it's them versus the world. Well, those types of plays are a large reason why it won't be them versus the world in about a month's time, because you're not going to be able to win consistently when you make plays like that.
Yeah, it always feels a bit disjointed, as if half of their TeamSpeak is in one channel, and Redix is in one channel in TeamSpeak, and Hundor and Dark Potato in another one, and Redix go, 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 and just assumes that Hundor and Dark Potato are going to do it, and Hundor and Dark Potato in the other one just be like, wait, is Redix going in? Should we follow? Should we go?
Or they just disconnect off of TeamSpeak right before making the call. It was the same thing in last game, but with Dark Potato.
Yeah, here comes the engage. Aroniac, the target, almost goes down. There's the burst as well. Hundor's going to do a huge amount of work. The fountain, a perfect time to keep Hundor alive. Does eventually get taken out. It's up to Dark Potato and Redix now. Just Man will be the first target, and now Lure just trying to 2v1, but not really much you can do in this sort of situation. Even if you're a Black Feather, he will fall to the ace, and G2, with a great team fight, they managed to reconnect two of their voice over IP, and they're going to take down the Kraken as well.
Yeah, it's literally like night and day difference when G2 engage as a team versus one person jumping in on their own and the rest of the team following afterwards. They get an ace, they're going to get the Kraken because Krull can solo Kraken normally, but you throw in a Storm Crown and it's even more effective. So they're going to have a pretty solid push. They might have a tough time actually sieging onto the turret as they don't have a ton of range, but with Kraken coming in, they could potentially try and look for a dive fight. It'll be up to Rising Lotus to defend this.
One thing I can say about the games today, they haven't been Kraken lacking. We've seen 5 of them go down across the last couple of series, and G2 looking to win out with this push off this one. Looking toward that turret, as you say, not the most range in the world. They have got Hundor, who can do quite a lot of work from long range with that broken myth as well. He will eat through turrets pretty quickly, absolutely demolishing them. But Dark Potato is always going to struggle when you start to move in towards the enemy's base, because you haven't got the ability to proc that heroic perk. There's no bush for you to stand in, no ability for you to be stealthed up towards the side. Nerd jumps onto him. There's the attack of the pack. G2 just want this turret. Still half health on the Kraken, but G2 say that's enough for now. Not going to push in any further, and perhaps look to catch Rising Lotus as they push out of their base.
Yeah, they are going to be able to have the base open, though, and exposed. Kraken was getting pretty low, so they just didn't want to continue pushing the issue. Don't want to go diving too aggressively and then just give up a team fight in your opponent's base. So they are going to go ahead, back off, do some shopping, clear out this jungle, and, well, I mean, things are looking good for G2 as of late. They are still very, very close in terms of gold, as it's actually still about 100 gold in favor of Rising Lotus, believe it or not. But it's the momentum and the objectives are still very much in favor of G2.
Definitely, and I think G2 have actually taken a slight gold lead. It's about 200, 300 or so now. It's very, very close, as you say. Now, Lure has finished the Serpent's Mask with the breaking point as well. If he can get a sustained fight off, which is exactly what we've been seeing, Lure actually might be able to turn this one around. It's still incredibly close. This game is very much on edge, even though it looks like G2 have started to win out fights. Journey Boots on Dark Potato has that breaking point as well, looking for the engage onto Lure. There's the attack of the pack. Dark Potato still alive. Lure gets onto Hundor. Here's the burst, blocked out. Wait for it comes down as well, and Hundor almost the first to fall, but a great bounce in timing. Dark Potato takes out Lure. Aroniac getting chased out by Redix. Just Man falls as well. Dark Potato with a double, looking for the triple on towards Aroniac. He's just running straight at him, and actually the resonance bounce is getting the kill on towards Redix. Dark Potato is still going for this one. Aroniac's kiting back like an absolute boss, but can't kite back a dead man's rush, and G2 should be able to clean out this game.
Very smart from Hundor to leave that fight. Again, Crystal Vox in a 1v1 is not going to do much of anything. While it was all 3 members there, he was able to get those resonance bounces that took out Redix, but that is all that they are going to get. It then puts Hundor in a great position to push in with these ace buff minions, and that is going to be the game to G2.
That it is. G2 will win it out. They'll take it 2-0, the third 2-0 in a row here in the EU Euro 8. Now, it was a close game, even though G2 looked like they should have won it for a long time. Next up is SK versus Mouse Sports, and Mouse desperately, desperately need to win this. It's their last opportunity to get to a Worlds. We're going to hand it over to the three heavenly bodies. It's AJ, Fuji, and Humanist. Take it away.
Welcome back to the desk, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually going to have to keep this segment very short because the next game has started in the background. So let's just go through the housekeeping. Hundor is going to be our MVP for that Adagio play. Very strong stuff. If you guys want to enter a giveaway for some ice, type in hashtag evil8, the number 8, not the word 8, for your chance to do that. We're going to go to a very short break. When we're back, we've got our next series between SK